And good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Dice Tower. Today is May 22nd, 2023. It's Monday, and Q&A time is here, and we are done with the 36-hour marathon. Got some sleep over the weekend. My kids are home from college briefly, so I'm able to see them for a few days. Have a good time. We've been playing Zelda. I got some role-playing stuff in the mail, and apparently, from reading in here, I see the Spiel des Jahres nominees were just announced. So before we go any farther, let's see who was announced. So, Spiel des Jahres winner nominees are... Trying to find them here. Let's see, Acropolis. Okay. Hitster. Oh no, those are the recommended list. So, Next Station London, okay, Fun Facts, and Dorf Romantic. Well, I call it Dorf Romantic, so I'm feeling pretty good there. Fun Facts. I guess Repos has like a lock on this now at this point in time. Next Station London. All right. And the recommended list is Acropolis, Hitster, Kuzuku, Mantis, QE, Sea Salt and Pepper, and That's Not a Hat. The Kennerspiel has Challengers. Challengers, that's hilarious. That's going to make Roy so annoyed. And then Iki. Really? And Planet Unknown. Wow, those are three very, very different games. Okay, well, I like all three of them, so that's good. Recommended list, they have Council of Shadows and Mindbug. Oh, that's interesting that Mindbug got nominated. And then, of course, the Kinderspiel, I don't really know any of these, so I'll have to go hunt them down. Oh, the Kid Mysterium. Well, that's a special prize will be given to Unlock and Unlock Kids. Oh, that's cool. So they'll announce the winners on July 16th. Okay. All right, let's see here. So I'm preempting everyone asking me questions about the nominees. What's my favorite Memorial Day food? I don't do anything different for Memorial Day, so I wouldn't really know. Hey, Tom, with the kids home from college in a new house, do some of the kids have to share rooms? My visiting college kids just sleep in the living room on the couches. That's what they want to do. So, go figure. Everyone else seems to be pretty content. They also sleep on the couches during the day and during the afternoon and in the evening, too. Apparently, college kids sleep a lot. Or at least they sleep a lot when they come home. Anyway, if you're just joining us, this is a place to ask questions. I don't promise to answer all the questions. I don't promise to answer even any of them, but I'll try to answer a lot of questions, so why not? So, I don't have many questions at all. Have you played Skull King in the last few years? I played it a year ago or less, maybe. I've been a bit disappointed in the Funkoverse release as of late. It's a great game. What's a great game? I don't know what that means. Has the Funko team reached out to you reviewing the upcoming releases? No, I haven't heard from Funko in a while, actually. I don't think they've sent us anything, well, since the Jurassic Park game from last year, I suppose. You said my daughter's going back to college in a week or so. Yeah, both my kids decided to work at the college over the summer. So I will see them at Christmas time, maybe Thanksgiving. What's the tallest man you've ever seen? I've ran into a few tall people floating through Miami and Lauderdale that I assume were basketball players. That's the most specific I can get. Did you have better food or better sleep this weekend? I got good sleep and good food. It was a good weekend all around there. The worst Dominion expansion is Alchemy, because it adds another currency that a lot of people don't use. Oh, I'm on fire. I am caught up with questions. There is no more questions. So I will just take a look at reading about mushrooms here. Spider shroom, never mind. What have your children decided to study? One is in marketing and the other is elementary education. Why don't you guys come to Origins? Well, there's a lot of reasons, but it's mostly it's a timing issue. So Origins is in June. We're preparing for our own convention in Dice Tower. And so I don't feel that bad about missing Origins. Also, a lot of the same publishers and people I would see at Origins are also at Gen Con. That's all. One question I don't answer is, will there be something soon? A review of this soon, or will I play through it soon? If we do something, it will get scheduled and we'll play it. If not, we'll have to see. I don't promise or plan anything except, we'll announce stuff that we are guaranteed to be doing. But otherwise, that's that. What's my favorite sport to watch live on or on TV? It's the same sport. That's baseball. What's the Chief up to? The Chief has been working on... So they're trying to solve the Pulaka dilemma, which has been, I don't know, a couple thousand years since this one has been able, it was first posited by a mathematician of said name. Well, half mathematician, half assassin. Very, very uncommon thing, but he was actually one of the first people who was part of the Bureau. But anyway, what we are trying to figure out is, why is it that when you jump 2 parallel universes over, there's a slight tick. Everything seems to shake, and we're still not sure that something has happened there. And so they're trying to solve that, because, it's not often we jump over 2. You jump anywhere from 1 to 782,643, I think is the number. That I'm not so sure, but jumping over 2, that doesn't happen again, like I said, often, but it does, and we're trying to figure out how that happens. I don't know that. With Memorial Day on Monday, will the normal Monday live events be pushed a day? And the answer to that is yes. What's my least favorite part of gaming conventions? Well, of ones I'm going to, the traveling home. It's always it seems like it's a pain in the neck. Setup is teardown. I don't love teardown and setup. I guess I like the rest of conventions. Have you explored Discord any? Yeah, I've been in Discord a bit. Worst Smash-Up expansion, that I wouldn't know. Best new to you movie of 2023? Probably Guardians of the Galaxy, but John Wick 4 maybe. I really like that one too. I'm attending Gen Con for the first time this year. Any pro tips? Get a very comfortable pair of shoes, which is always the same thing I say every time. Rate how excited you are for the new Flash movie in a scale between 9 and 10. I don't like to pare things down that much, but I would say 9%. I'm excited about it, yes. It's a great game is Funkoverse. Yeah, I think Funkoverse might be dead. Who knows? Is there a Dice Tower show and Dice Tower Awards at Gen Con? There's just Dice Tower Awards. So if you want to come see us, that would be the place to do so. Or our booth. We'll have a booth there for sure. Do you think you'll play the Elden Ring DLC when it comes out? Depends what it does and what it is. Am I excited for PAX Unplugged this year? I am not, because we're not going, unfortunately. And what's your Philly cheesesteak place of choice? I don't know. I'll eat all of them. I'm not snobby. Let's see here. I went to a Pirates game yesterday, and it was way better with a shorter pitch clock. I love when sports change the rules to make it better for fans. Yeah, I'm very curious. I'd like to see how that's affected things. A shorter game is always a good thing. Baseball game, I love baseball, but there's no reason it was being dragged out to the length it was. What's the longest board game you've ever set up and went, nah, forget it? I've said that before, but it's not usually because of setup. Sometimes it is. I'm like, I can't figure this out. But it's usually because the rules are so bad. Here's a question about the Quakalope Controversy, and I'm not even going to talk about this any more than the fact I'm just putting up here to say I'm not going to talk about this. It's not my business. I'm not involved with the situation in any way or fashion. I don't know a whole lot about the situation. I've definitely read about it and learned about it and obviously would have private thoughts on the matter, but I would not ever speak publicly about another content creator in any way in such ways, and that's it. Go argue about that somewhere else on the internet. Let's see, can you do a future segment on Standees versus miniatures? We have done that. We just talked about that recently on a board game smorgasbord. What's my favorite barbecue food? Turkey. Turkey's not usually barbecued. I do like turkey a lot, though. So I'll say pork. Pork and side dish. Corn on the cob, but it always changes. I just had corn on the cob for lunch. It was delicious. What's your favorite new mechanism in Zelda that you didn't know you wanted? Well, straight up, the combining the weapons was so much fun. They first announced that, the trailer a bit ago, and that just blew my mind. It was so fun. Trying to make some travel plans for next year, and I'm considering a Dice Tower cruise. How does the Dice Tower library and the cruise work? Do you take the whole library or a small selection? We bring the whole library. There's room for it, and you just check out a game like a normal convention and play it. Let's see here. There's a lot of blinged out games in the library. Honestly, I don't know off the top of my head to say which games are blinged out, but there's just lots. Just pick some fun games, pull them out. We'll probably have a sheet in the book that says, want to play a blinged out game? Here's some. We usually do that. My favorite top 10 video that I've done in a while is one that we haven't posted yet, and that is our top 10 games I wish existed when I was a teenager. I really like doing that list. Now, I can't tell you when that one's going up. We already pre-recorded it. It will probably go up next month. Late June is probably where you'll see that one posted. But I really enjoyed that one. Thoughts on a new Star Wars hotel already planning on shutting down later this year? That's going to make Jason sad. He was so excited about going. My top 2 favorite magicians. Well, I know what you all want me to say here. Brian and Joey, of course, very good friends of mine. But I don't know. I've seen several, and I like a lot of different magicians. Let's see. What is the kind of criticism you can accept the least on your videos? I don't like when people call us a liar. I will almost always delete that if you call us a liar, because we're not liars. If you say we're stupidly wrong, well, I don't accept, criticism against the people. Like if you say, your opinion is stupid, I'll probably delete that comment. But if you're like, hey, you don't know anything about, you're talking about, this is a great game, and you said it's bad, or this is a bad game, you said it's great, I don't care. Go in. That's great. I want people to disagree with us. That's one of the points here. I deliberately didn't hire people who have the same thoughts on games. We argue in our game reviews themselves. But we tell the truth, and don't say otherwise. I will delete those comments. I don't take attacks on our integrity lightly. Why are the Dice Tower Awards at Gen Con this year? Because we're trying it out. And will they be videoed like normal? They will. No sound. Oh, I definitely see sound going through. Mic's working. Sound here is working. Sound's working over there. So if anyone else says there's no sound, it's only one person. It might be you. Someone needs to tell them that in the chat. When and why did you start wearing fun hats? Well, I've always liked to wear hats. I've always wanted hats like these. When I was a kid, I couldn't afford them. We just had baseball caps. So that's what I wore. So now I can afford these hats a little bit, so I get them. What campaign game is currently getting your love? Well, if you've been watching on our channel, I've been playing through Aeon Trespass Odyssey. I decided to do this a while ago. It's definitely coincidence that their campaign's going out right now. I didn't even know that was launching this week or last week. But I've been playing through that, and I'm just telling you guys how it went through. If you look up Tom's Great Greek Adventure, something to that effect, you can see that. Just me talking about my playthroughs of the game. It might not interest you at all. It's super full of spoilers, but I'm having a good time doing that. Is there a specific type of metal you prefer your game coins? Not particularly. There's been some metals before I'm like, I don't like this metal, but for the most part, I don't know that I have a specific thought. Have you blinged out Space Base and made it easier to slot the cards in? I wouldn't know how to do that. If someone could tell me, that would be neat. Gabby from Board Game Snobs claimed he can beat you in a fight in the latest podcast. Okay. I guess that's true. I'm not a fighter, so I suppose. All right. Well, congratulations. I thought I saw the When I Was a Teenager one up already. Yeah, well, you did. It just wasn't with me, Mike, and Z. It was with Chris, and I forget who was in that one exactly. Sorry, I forget. I know Chris was in it because it was his idea. So that one already went up, but we also did one. How often do you talk about board games outside of your job? When it comes up, but only when it comes up. I don't bring it up to everybody. Would you consider the elaborate puzzle box that Chris Ramsey unlocks board games? No, I'd consider them puzzles. You added 6 years to this year's marathon. 6 hours, not 6 years. 6 hours to this year's marathon. How did you feel this 36 hours went? I thought it went fine. And how do you think you'll keep it the same for next year or go back to 30? We'll have to see. How much did you rest during the marathon? During the marathon, I got about, I don't know, 5 is 6 hours of sleep. Probably closer to 5. I rested a lot off camera. I was doing stuff, when we were playing games off camera too. It's a little easier to play games off camera than on because you don't have to worry about being on per se. But I went home and went straight to bed. Actually, I ate some food and then went straight to bed. And then I woke up the next day, went and worked at church for a bit, then came home, said hi to my kids, and then both my kids conked. And I was like, well, I also would like to conk. And so I went to sleep too. Have I played Tears of the Kingdom? You didn't watch Board Game Breakfast. Which game during the marathon was your favorite? It was the Sleeping Gods. Sleeping Gods was really good. Thank you, Chad, for saying the nice thing about our 36-hour marathon. How do you decide who will review what game? We talk about it internally here, and we have sometimes we have meetings about who's going to review the games. What's the stupidest tie you own? I have a banana tie that's shaped like a banana. Are Dice Star Awards taking the place of the regular Gen Con show this year? They are. Until we know how well the show will work, we don't want to kill ourselves too much. What is the new picture behind you? Well, this is from a company called Stellar Prints. And what these are, this is here. This is still a prototype, right? This is going to Kickstarter. This is called Gamer Types #1, the Gumshoe Gamer. The artwork's Jackie Davis. You can see the back of it. That's what it looks like. And then you can just put these magnets on your wall and then put the picture there. And you can switch the pictures in and out. So you'll see several of those pictures switched in and out. I am super excited about this Kickstarter. When I saw it at a Gamma, I was just over the moon. I was so like, oh, I want to get Dice Tower pictures done in this. I love metal prints anyway, and I love the idea of switching them in and out on magnets. That's such a great idea. What's the coolest thing you've done in the latest Zelda game? The coolest thing I did, I think, one time, it's not even that cool. It's just that I was going to one of the towers. And so there was a lot of soldiers that I was not very strong to go fight them. So I went up and I had a fan thing. So the soldiers rushed me. I exploded some of them off the edge. I fanned the rest off. And then I ran for the tower. And I looked and all the monsters were coming behind me. And so I was like going in. That slow motion, felt like hitting the button. I'm hitting the button to launch the tower just as the monsters were coming to get me, and then shot out through the tower. That was really cool. I don't know, it felt cool anyway. Have I been to Ohio? I have been to Ohio, and I really, really enjoy Ohio. Are you surprised Challengers is in the Kenner Spiel category instead of the regular Spiel des Jahres category? A little, but not overly surprised. People put things into categories that they want to. Will the game you place during the marathon be posted individually? Yeah, sure, eventually. How do you prefer Sleeping Gods, with foreteller audio or without? Didn't know it came with. I should have used that when we did the playthrough. How old were you when you reached your terminal height? I don't know. 14, 15, maybe? I'm not sure. Where was I able to get my custom ready, set, bet horse track? Well, the person who made me, David Culling, who makes the marble track, made it for me. Ever think of having ChatGPT write a review just to see what happens? I may have messed with that before, but I don't remember if I did or not, actually. I figured you were afraid to come to Ohio. I love Ohio. I think Ohio is great. Do you know that we all reach half our eventual full height at 2 years old? Well, maybe. When traveling in a Dice Tower van, will you pick up hitchhikers holding up a board game? Seems like a dangerous thing to do. They'll sit there and talk about the board game the whole time. Did you guys receive Darwin's Journey? Yep. I've already played it once. How do I deal with alpha gamers and co-op games in a nice way? I say, hey, stop alpha gaming. I don't know. What are your thoughts on AI imaging, how it might affect working artists in the game industry? I don't know, is the fact of the matter. I have no idea. I know that if you say AI anything, people get really, really mad about it. And I don't know enough about the situation to make any kind of deterministic thing. Even if I did have an opinion on it, let's say I was like, hey, artist, great. Artists would be like, you're not an artist, be quiet. So I don't know. AI is doing a lot of different things now. AI making music, art, and stuff. Is it as good as people? I don't think so. AI art looks pretty interesting. I would not have a problem with playing a game with AI art in it, because if I like the art, why do I care who did it? You're like, well, you took the job from someone else. Well, jobs are taken from people by tech all the time, so I'm not sure we don't stop. Again, see, even just saying those few lines, I'll get in trouble. I don't know enough about it. I'll educate and learn about it. But I wonder if it's a set thing. It's going to happen anyway, despite what people think. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. Let's see here. I'm an economist, and I'm toying with the idea of creating a channel reviewing economic games through the lens of actual economics. Is that too boring? Not if you're not boring. It all depends on you. You have to make that topic interesting. Have I ever been to Seattle? I have not been to Seattle. Let's see here. Do you have much of a preference between flat game tables or tables with raised sides for cup holders and accessories? Like the tables we use with the raised sides, I love raised side tables. For gaming, of course. They're not good for eating. Hey Tom, curious if you played Station Fall yet. Saw the title pop up during the marathon, but it quickly got switched. Looked like complete chaos. I don't know what we're talking about here. Station Fall. That was never, ever a possibility during the thing. You might have just seen a different title or part of a different title being typed or something, but we were not ever going to play that game. Have you ever tried making a gaming table? I can't even make a birdhouse. Top 3 crumble cookies? I don't know. I've only eaten, I think, 2. You eat one crumble cookie, you can't eat another one. They're so humongous. So we'll see. Will the Dice Tower do a road trip vlog in the future? Indeed, we will. Have you ever looked into making a cube for Magic the Gathering? I do have a cube for Magic the Gathering in the Dice Tower library. It's all commons so that people won't steal it or anything. Tom, High Evolutionary comes out tomorrow. You need to take a break from Zelda and get back to Snap. Yeah, no kidding. I haven't played Snap since Zelda's come out. I think that's okay. I'll get back to Snap eventually. Thank you for the very nice words here. Did your Gloomhaven plays with Bonagor get axed? Well, we tried to play and record it to post, and it was so problematic it just would not work. We barely could play and record them, let alone play and stream them. Unfortunately, the only way it would work would be if we're live here in the same room. So we still might try that in the future, live here in the same room. What's your opinion on reviewing games in a vacuum? I don't think I could do it. I would die. It would be a funny video, though, I suppose, if I get a spacesuit or so. Oh, what you mean is as in not compared to the market. Not meaning reviewing in the vacuum of space or a household vacuum. I see you are prepared for my answer. I don't think you should review games in a vacuum. People aren't buying them in a vacuum. People are buying games with knowledge of everything else out there. So why would I review games without that knowledge out there? What's the hardest you laughed in the last year? Probably at one of the live events we've done here in the Dice Tower. Giving all the great casting in comic book movies, I'd like to know what you would say is the best or the few best jobs casting actors as characters. It's hard to beat Patrick Stewart as Charles Xavier. I mean, that's so on point. Just really good. So that's one. Ryan Reynolds as Wolverine. As Wolverine. As Deadpool is pretty solid. Those are people who they are who they are. Even Josh Brolin as Thanos, that was pretty good. And Josh Brolin as Cable. I thought those were both pretty solid depictions. Let's see. I forget the guy's name, Ian somebody or other, who played Mr. Fantastic in the first Fantastic Four movie. He was solid. Well, I mean, you can't argue with Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man. He was Iron Man. He said that. And I'm not taking away from everyone else. I thought all the different characters are very, very good. I'm talking about the standout ones. Those would probably be the standout ones to me going through as I look at all the different people involved. A lot of them are actors. I was trying to pick the ones that I felt were closest to what I felt they looked like and acted like in the comics. How did you meet Rod? He's such a great guy. He's come to several of our events here at the Dice Tower and lives pretty close. Let's see here. How involved will Mike DeLisio stay at Dice Tower? He's very involved. You see, he did 6 of our 36-hour marathon. He also is constantly in our live chats here. He is putting out content for us, and we're bringing him back for various events. You'll see him here for the Summer Spectacular. You'll see him at Dice Tower East. You'll see him at Gen Con. You better be at Gen Con. Loved your Thunder Road review. Was hoping to hear more about your thoughts on the expansion content. Well, you'll have to wait till I mess with all that expansion content. Have I ever tried the key lime pie on a stick in Key West? You don't have to go to Key West. You can go to Key Largo and get key lime on a stick. Hi, Tom. What's the best, worst movie you've ever seen? You mean like a movie that's bad, but you still like it anyway? Major League? Did you know your old werewolf games in the pandemic has led to a large group of us meeting up twice a year for gaming weekend in the Midwest? Well, hooray, I'm glad. All right, this one I'll answer. I'm not talking about other people, but I'll talk about the Dice Tower's policies on paid content. Yeah, we charge for content, and you can get it. Mark Street does paid previews. Ella and Stella, they all do paid previews, very clearly marked. We, on the Dice Tower, will occasionally do a paid playthrough of a game where we'll play a game through here on the Dice Tower. And then sometimes our other stuff is sponsored at various points in time, but we always mention when that's the case. Like our board game breakfast shows and things are sponsored. So there's different ways to pay and support the Dice Tower, and I do that because we like to get money to support the people here at the Dice Tower. None of that ever affects what we do. You can see, if you go back and look, you'll see there's been some paid playthroughs we've done in games, and then we review the game later on and told you we didn't like it that much. And sometimes we do like it. Often we like it. That's a strong possibility. So, yeah, we do paid things. It's a very small percentage of what we put out on our channel. And if you have any questions about that, we try to make it as clear as we possibly do. If you think that influences our reviews, then don't watch us because it doesn't. And I don't know what else I can say to change your mind. Alrighty, let's see here. If one of your kids wanted to be a board game reviewer like you, what would you tell them? I would say, why are you pulling my leg? Because I don't think they want to. The worst movie ever was Young Einstein. Yeah, but they were asking for a good, bad movie, not the worst movie ever. Do you have any specific restaurants in Gen Con you recommend for a nice dinner? There's a lot of nice restaurants there. If you're willing to pay the big bucks for it, St. Elmo's is the best steak restaurant I've ever been to. Ever. It's that good. But a nicer, smaller place, Harry and Izzy's, which uses the same kitchen. And then if you just go around town, there's lots of really nice places. I have barely begun to dent the Gen Con dining scene. How about top 10 games to play on an airplane? I don't think I could do that. I don't know if there is that many. There might be. But I always say, get an iPad. It was funny. We were talking, it's funny when you look at things in retrospect. So I remember when I first heard that the iPad had a Scrabble game, when the iPad was first released, and they're like, you can use your smartphone to have your Scrabble tiles, and then the tablet's down there. And I was like, oh, are you kidding me? You can just go buy a Scrabble game for $40. I'm not buying this $500 phone and another $500 device on the table. And I kind of mocked it. And to the point, I really got on the associate principal where I worked got an iPad. And I was like, an iPad's just a giant iPhone. Why do you need an iPad? Who needs an iPad? And I'll tell you what, I was wrong on that one because I love my iPad now. And everyone, not everyone, but the vast majority of people have smartphones. So that whole idea of that doesn't work anymore. Anyway, playing games on iPad, fantastic if you can do it. Let's see here. What's the best way to go about selling part of your collection? At a flea market, I think, and then price it to sell it. Is there a time frame for Heat Pedal to the Metal to arrive in U.S. retail? I don't think so, but we did get an extra copy for the Dice Tower Library. Woo, woo, woo! What is the thing you're most excited for concerning Dice Tower East? Just that it's starting again. Can't wait to see everybody and have a great time. Last year I was so stressed at Dice Tower East because I wanted to make sure it ran. I was worried about all kinds of problems and things. And my whole family was visiting, which also added to the stress. This year they're not all visiting, and it ran so well the first time that I'm not as stressed about it running this time. So I'm excited. You're a youngling that was just accepted to the Jedi Academy. Who would you want to be your master? I guess Yoda, because I'm kind of old to be accepted to the Jedi University. I would like to work with you guys. How can I apply? Well, I'm not taking any applications right now. Get to know us in various ways. That's the best way. If you had the option to only destroy all copies of Phase 10 in the world, or destroy your top number 10 to 2 most hated games in the world, which option would you choose? I would choose whichever one destroyed fewer games. Why would I want to destroy games? If people don't want to play them, they don't have... I mean, if people want to play them, why would I try to to mess with that. Have you heard see more about the upcoming Halloween game? I really look forward to trying it out. Would you consider doing a video ranking your favorite characters to play in Disney Villainous? I don't think so. I don't play it enough for, I think, that to be a strong enough video. First armor set you go after when you start at Zelda. Well, I'm doing this without any information online at all, hunting down armor, and so I'm taking whatever I can get my hands on. I don't have, the only armor set I have is the frost armor. That's the only full set I found. Did you see the board game featured on the last episode of Shark Tank? I did not, but I'm very interested in it now. Do you know the name of the game? What is the most recent evergreen game? Well, that's kind of a contradiction in terms. You don't know. Like, what if it's recent, it can't be evergreen because we don't know it's still hot. That being said, I'm pretty sure Earth will be an evergreen game. Heat, Pedal to the Metal with deluxe components, or Thunder Road Vendetta Maximum Chrome. It depends what you want. Do you want a racing game that's Heat, or do you want a fighting game that's Thunder Road? I just threw out my back. Any advice? Call a doctor. What board game would you want supersized for conventions? I don't know. It'd have to be a game with only a few pieces. I don't want something supersized that has a million pieces. So, I don't know. I have to think about that one some more. I'm not sure. Let's see here. Do you think there will be more games in a D&D adventure line? I don't know. Will you be reviewing Monster Hunter, the board game? Maybe, but I haven't got it. Before you were a reviewer, when you purchased a new board game, did you take the shrink off and punch tokens right away? Yes. Straight up. I always punched everything right away. When can we look forward to a Hantu Tutanaku playthrough? When Chris Yee takes over the Dice Tower. I am keeping up with questions today. I feel like I'm on fire. Either that or I'm being short and pithy. Let's take a look at these mushrooms. These are called shrooms. Collectible mushrooms. And you know that is a category that hasn't been used very often. Did I get a rare in this one? I did not. I got an uncommon. The electro shroom. When you eat this shroom, you're covered in electricity for an hour. Whenever a creature attacks you within 5 feet during this time, they take 2d6 lightning damage. All right. Well, that's kind of handy. This is a slippery shroom. And this is a silver shroom of sanctuary. Okay. Let's see where we're at with questions. Game on Shark Tank. Influencers in the wild. Influencers in the wild. Let's take a look at this one. Sold on Amazon. If you have a love-hate relationship with influencer culture, you're going to love this game. It's 17 plus. Unless you don't mind explaining what an OnlyFans account is to a 12-year-old. Huh. Well, that's kind of how to play. Here's how to play. It says stop it. You know how to play board games. All right. Well, you're kind of jerky. I'm not sure why we would want to talk to you all. Okay. Well, it looks kind of dumb. So it's just another Cards Against Humanity thing. All right, back to question. Supersize hand-to-hand wombat would be interesting. Yeah, that might be interesting. Jonathan says, if I bring only one trick-or-treating kid to retreat instead of 10, would you be more likely to play it with me? I don't know, but I feel like I owe you one trick-taking game, so remind me at the retreat. But I get to pick it out of the ones that you have. Are there any variants in Snap you always want to get? No, not really. I'll see some variants and I think that's cool. I can tell you which variants I don't want to get are the Pixel ones. They're my least favorite. I also don't care if I get Baby or Chibi or any of that stuff. But some of them are pretty cool. But I don't really care if I get them or not. I'm all about getting the cards for their use. Let's see here. Don't take notes from Mike DeLisio on how to keep up with questions during a Q&A. Who's your favorite baseball team? The Blue Jays. Will you bring an overpower deck to Essen? I wasn't planning to. Is there like an overpower scene there? What's a good store to buy upgraded components? Etsy is your friend, sir. Ma'am. Is there a CCG that you wish you didn't start collecting? A lot of them at various points because it's easy to get caught up in buying them how much time. What convention is good to take someone who's not into board games? Oh my word, the cruise. 100% the cruise. Because if they're not interested in board games, you can play a couple board games with them, some party games and stuff, and then let them go do cruise stuff. It is by far the best convention to take someone who's not a huge board gamer. What is your process on learning a new board game? I read the rules. I know that it should probably be like some more thing like that, but I get the game out, I set it up, and then I read the rules. I read the rules while looking at the game. I don't read the rules before getting a game out because for me, seeing the game set up on a table and it's visualization as I talk my way through it. Are there any overpowered cards from the first set that you still need? I don't think so. I'm not missing many cards now. A few listeners really helped me out there, and I really appreciate that. Let me see how many cards I'm missing at this point. I'm missing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 characters. Half of them are from... Actually, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them are from Image. The other 3 are the foil ones. And then I'm missing 31 specials, and they're almost all Image. There's Marvel ones. There's some Marvel ones, but they're not from the first set. So not that much. That is a total of 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38 cards I'm missing. Meh. If I never get them also, I'll be fine. Tom, you've done videos looking at the top 100 on BGG and looking at the 10,000 and below on Board Game Geek. Is there any chance of a series looking at games in between? Maybe. We'll see. Do you prefer yogurt or Greek yogurt? Greek yogurt. Oh, I just got a thumb down. What did I do? I didn't do anything. I'm sorry. Hey, by the way, if you like these videos, thumb them up. It's good for us. Do you have a favorite publisher of all time? Yes, I do. Is it still in print? I don't know. Oh, you're talking about Captain Sonar. Probably not. You never know. The next step in learning is playing wrong, then rereading the rules. That is correct. What games have you designed or been part of designing? I've only designed 2 games. One of them is Nothing Personal, and one is Vicious Fishes. Vicious Fishes I designed on my own. Nothing Personal I co-designed with Steve Avery. Those are the only two games that were published that I designed. Which board game would you be confident to play in a tournament? Race for the Galaxy would be my number one pick, probably. Maybe Ticket to Ride. But I would lose a tournament no matter how good I was at the game. What is the sweet spot for game length for me? Whatever I think the game should last. It could be anywhere from 10 minutes to 3 hours. Do you have any favorite board game jingles? I'd have a hard time thinking of one. A board game jingle, I'm sure there's some. For multi-game play streams, marathon spectaculars, how much do you dive into playing stats? I look at them. Curious how viewership fluctuates depending on what game is being played. The more popular the game, the more people are going to watch, but also time has something to do with it too. More people watch when they should be at work. The coolest looking and worst looking superhero costume. Well, worst looking is Power Girl from DC Comics. Coolest looking costume? I still think Spider-Man and perhaps Miles Morales' Spider-Man suit is the best. How much do you think the Dice Tower board game collection is worth? I have no idea, but priceless. Oh, I'm not complaining that I didn't get the Batman foils. They're very, very expensive. I don't mean to get them all or any reason. I just have them on the list for completion's sake. I enjoyed the mixture of top 10s and Q&A of the marathon this year. Well, that is all Mike DeLisio who put that together. Is Mystic Vale still a good deck builder and worth picking up? I think so. I really like deck builders. We did our top 10 deck builders a couple weeks ago. This week, I'll be doing 10 more great deck building games. The Nothing Personal I play got quite personal at times. Oh, sure, but I'll tell you what, I had a great time playing that game because with Jenny and Rod and Meg, everyone took everything in stride. Like, we were all yelling at each other and stabbing, but it was such a good game. And those are the kind of people I like to play with, who have fun and will backstab you, but also don't get personal about it. Don't run off on some vendetta for the rest of the year either. We definitely got lively, and you might watch it and think, oh, they didn't seem like they were having a good time, but it went really well. How many endings of My Father's Work have you unlocked? I don't know. I'm not keeping track. Are you guys going to cover Stranger Things, the Seamine game? Well, we actually played it live here on the Dice Tower. Do you have a favorite beverage you enjoy while gaming? Ooh, I'm starting to yawn here. Mio. Would you recommend kids in marriage? Look, I joke about a lot of things. My wife and my kids are besides my Christian faith, are the most important thing in the world to me. Yes, 1,000 times over. You have kids, you worry that bad things are going to happen to them, and I know they will. I've had a son die. I have a daughter who's in therapy right now for things that happened to her when she was young, like she had seizures and things like that. They don't do their homework. They don't do their chores. For a 3 or 4 year period in their life, they kind of act like they hate you a lot, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. It's great. It's great. I love my kids. I would do it all over again. I don't want to change the diapers anymore. I'm cool with that. And my wife, oh my word, I'd be a quivering wreck without her. All right, put that seriousness over. Let's get back to normality. When will be the next live ranking tournament? It's been a while since we've done one of those. We need to do one of those soon. Those are a lot of work for me to set up, though. Interesting. I have some ideas. We'll see. Will you be at Gen Con? We will be at Gen Con. Check out I don't know if they published the map. I think they published a map there. Come check us out at our booth, which I will say the number eventually. What's the biggest challenge you ran into in a 36-hour marathon? Oh, just people getting enough sleep. That's it. What's your view on the state of accessibility within the hobby, Tom? I have color blindness and think too many games are released where accessibility seems secondary to aesthetics. I think it's gotten way, way better. Again, it's hard for me to say because I don't have color blindness, but I definitely noticed that cards and tokens and things these days will have symbols on them. They deliberately try to take color blindness into effect. And back, a couple decades ago, nobody even cared one whit about that. So you might think it's gotten worse or it's not better, but it's definitely better than it used to be. Has my wife ever met the chief? She has not, but she feels like it because I've told her so much. Let's see here. A lot of questions that are being asked I've already answered in this Q&A. Have I given much thought to using the back porch as another studio? Well, that would require us to enclose the back porch and soundproof the back porch and stuff. Maybe someday we'll do another addition here to this house and add more stuff in. We'll see. People are talking about babies are cute, though, to make up for diapers. Oh, no, I think babies are fantastic. But see, being a grandparent, of which I am now a grandparent twice, woo, 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 woo. Melody is once again pregnant. But anyway, being a grandparent means I deal with the good stuff with kids and none of the bad stuff. Yay. Is the hammock always set up in the back, or is that a marathon edition? It was there for the marathon. Red or blue? Feels like a trick question. It all depends. But my answer to that is bright. Do you still play Slay the Spire? I haven't played it in a while. I would. I mean, it would be something I'd just get out and play. Folks, I don't know if you heard, but it's all Zelda all the time. Not all the time. I don't bring it to work. I'm not playing it here. I don't have an addiction. I ran home for lunch today. I did not play Zelda. I won't get home and immediately jump on and play Zelda. I'm not that bad, but I do like playing it a lot. Let's see here. As someone who works in accessibility, I can say that some game companies do not take it into consideration. Again, I agree, but also I like to say many do, so that's good. What's your favorite animal to see at your local zoo? The monkeys. My local zoo is the Miami Zoo. It's actually not that far from where we live here. The Miami Zoo is great, but it is a walk. Like, you really have to walk to go anywhere in it. Do you think you gave the Beast board game a fair shake? I did not give it a fair shake. Some said you only played once. I don't know, they weren't there. People reviews are very mixed on it so far, I can't decide. Well, if people like it, go for it. By the way, me saying I didn't give it a fair shake, because I don't know that I give any game a fair shake. I give them a Tom Vasel shake. I try to be as fair as possible. Also, me and Joey both had the same thoughts on it, and we didn't even play together at all. We played separately. But hey, if you think my review is bad or wrong, then watch people who do like it. I think that's great. I put it in the Dice Tower library. Have you watched a Star Wars Visions Season 2 yet? No, I didn't. I thought the first one was okay. I don't know. I don't watch that much cartoons. Maybe to my regret, I don't watch a lot of stuff, period. As you can tell in the Rotten Tomatoes, where I didn't know anything about any of the movies. Do you and the team ever meet up with the Watch It Played guys and play games with them? Well, our annual softball teams. No, but it's not. I don't think there's nothing good or bad about it. I know all the people on Watch It Played. I think the world of them. Some of them are voting in the Dice Tower Awards. But that's about the extent of it. We don't do a ton of crossover content because we have so much of our own content to do anyway. Are we enjoying the new van? Well, Kenny is. He's using it to load things up and prepare. We'll be bringing it up to both Dice Tower East and Gen Con. What is the first game you'll teach the grandkids? We'll have to see where they're at. I'm not even thinking about that right now. I'm just glad they're healthy. Would you recommend going to BGG events or game company events and Gen Con to play and see the newest and greatest games? Maybe. You guys should make a video of top things to do. I might do that at some point. Do you think the line of Transformer movies are good, bad, or meh? I think they are fine, although some aren't that great. Did you watch the above board videos? I did. Am I going to build an army for 10th edition of Warhammer 40k? Probably not. What is the lowest rated game I have in the Dice Tower library? I know the answer to this one. It's Monopoly. Because Monopoly is in the Dice Tower library, and Monopoly is one of the lowest rated games on Board Game Geek. We know this because we looked up the other day to see where LCR was rated, and Monopoly is rated lower than LCR. In fact, only 9 games are rated lower than LCR. The lowest rated game on Board Game Geek is Tic-Tac-Toe. Monopoly should not be in the bottom 10. I'm not a big fan of Monopoly, but it's not that low. But anyway. Thanks as always for doing the live shows. Well, thank you for the super chat, Jay Rodriguez. I appreciate it. Do you prefer Gen Con or Essen? I like Gen Con better, but hear me out. Essen has a lot of great things going for it. There's a worldwide presence there. It's neat to see and meet people that I don't meet anywhere else. I'm just not jet lagged at Gen Con, so that's why Gen Con wins for me. What air freshener would you put in a van? We got to pick one that everybody can deal with, so I need to think about that carefully, because some people can't stand certain air fresheners. What do you think of board games based on some video games? Do you come into it with a certain amount of skepticism? Yes. Because it's usually hard to implement? Yes. Does it bother you that the big box die behind the guys in the top 10 list is wrong? Each side should add up 7, but you can clearly see the 3 and 4 next to each other. Very minor pet peeve. What? My greatest apologies. I'll do something about that. What are your plans for the rest of the day? I got to work. I got to do reviews. I'm going to go home and hang out with my family. What do you think of people that buy every board game that comes out because of FOMO? Well, first of all, almost no one does that, and you shouldn't. I don't care how much disposable income you have. You're not playing all those games. There's too many games. So don't buy all the games. That's insanity. How do you choose the games review in Dice Tower? Well, I get some games are sent to me, and then as we look at them and play them, we decide which ones. How can I join the Discord? Well, maybe someone can tell you in chat. The Discord is Dice Tower Discord. Right now, there's a lot of members in it. What is there? There's 158 online right now, and 550 offline. We're going to start sticking the link to it in every video, so you'll be able to find it. All right. Well, we're at 1 o'clock here, so that's a good place to end. Thank you for everybody for watching. This is the last live thing today. I don't believe there's anything live tomorrow, so we'll see you for crowd surfing on Wednesday. And then on Thursday, we have the top 10. Oh, we have Board Game Smorgasbord. And then we have the top 10 expansions of all time with Mike DeLisio. So I hope you guys enjoy that. Thank you, everybody, for watching. I appreciate it. I appreciate everyone coming and joining us for the 36-hour marathon, especially if you were there in the wee hours of the morning when I was there. Thank you all, of course, for being great fans of the show. Have a great time. Don't get caught up in internet drama. Go talk about games and enjoy life. I'm Tom Vasel, and we'll see you all next time.